Chapter 1241. Got a problem a general could fix. It takes a little while to figure out where Solent is. Whenever I turn up in a tunnel looking for her, someone tells me she was just there, but left not long ago. Well, where was she going? She was heading over to that tunnel in order to talk to so-and-so. Alright, no problems, I'll head over there. Except, when I get there, I hear the exact same thing. A picture clearly emerges that Solent is running around from place to place, but not like a chicken with its head cut off, more like an agent of organization and order, crashing down wherever she senses chaos, straightening out everything and leaving only clean, functional lines of precision and logistics behind. It seems like the army of the colony functions like a well-oiled machine wherever she happens to go. It was actually insanely impressive to see. Us ants are naturally a well-organized group by definition. Someone wants to do something, they lay down a trail, start getting others on board and things happen. Now, the colony isn't like any other ant colony. There's layers of intelligence here that normal ants can't imagine, obviously. We have layers of authority, decision makers, and groups whose entire role is to make sure we're all pulling in the same direction. There's literally millions of us, and I can feel the will rolling off each of them, and everyone wants nothing but the best for the family, but they don't necessarily all agree on how that's supposed to be achieved. Discrepancies pop up, things don't always happen as smoothly as they should. Information at the front doesn't necessarily match what is reaching the back. Even for creatures who communicate with scent, it's possible for someone to misunderstand what was being said to them. Small little things, but when it happens just a few times every 1,000 interactions, considering there are billions of interactions a day, mistakes happen. Solent just seems to swoop in and straighten them all out. I have no idea how she even knows what she's looking for. It's like she can just sense when things aren't working perfectly and knows how to fix it. I'm hugely impressed. When I finally catch up with the general, I get to see her in action personally. Oftentimes, I see a scrum of ants appear around whoever is in charge, messengers arriving or waiting for replies, advisors, soldiers, mages, each responsible for their own slice of the decision-making process. Around Solent, even this process is streamlined. Ants don't come to her, she goes to them, with only a few of her personal team following her. When she reaches a new group, she listens, she watches, she thinks, then she talks. In just a few minutes, she's moving on to the next group. The moment she's done talking, the ants who were listening rush off to work, clearly understanding exactly what it is that she wants them to do. Judging from the looks of things, she's evolved since the last time I saw her as well, which means she's reached tier 5. So quickly, I'm glad the colony has been focusing on getting her level pumped up. She's going to be an important part of the family moving forward. Each champion who's appeared has been a positive and exceptional influence, and she won't be any different. She's a little bigger than she was before, but her antennae in particular are larger, and a little fuzzy on the ends. I can't help but wonder what they're designed to sense. I watch her move efficiently from group to group before she's finally done and finds the time to come and speak to me. You look busy, Solent. I've been following you around for a while, and everywhere I go, you leave a well-organized group of ants. What's the secret? She looks up at me, her eyes dark and serious. The line between order and disorder lies in logistics, senior, she tells me. It is impossible to ensure everything runs perfectly, but if we aim for perfection, we will come close. I mean, that's wise. I guess, I'm not exactly the best person to judge wisdom. So you're trying to ensure that our logistics are working as well as possible. Of course, we are planning to embark upon a grand campaign, are we not? The invasion of the 5th. Heck yeah, we are. The victor of every war is decided long before they begin. We have been training, testing, checking, double-checking, triple-checking every aspect of our approach. When the time comes, we will act as one entity, with one, unified mind and purpose. From what we know of the Krath, they are nefarious, intelligent, scheming and cunning, but they are divided and untrusting. We will smash them before they can hope to recover. Holy moly, I like everything I'm hearing. The potential I saw in the little general has done some serious blossoming. What the heck has been going on over here? Is this a nest or a hothouse? Awesome, I'm glad to hear things are going so well. Is there anything I can do to help? Chrysalis, Tiny, Nvidia and I are ready to roll. Of course, senior, there is a lot that you can do. Our advanced teams are preparing to start exploring the 5th, and it would be excellent if you could be part of that process. Hoo boy, jumping down into the poisonous mulch and exploring a whole new stratum of the dungeon. That's like my favorite thing to do outside of tickling grubs. Sure thing. I've got to do some jobs for Victor, need to talk to a few folks, and then I'm all yours. Keen to get involved. I know Tiny's looking forward to punching something. Thumbs up. How are we going on the project to cleanse the fifth of the toxic mana? Have we worked out a way to make the change permanent? That's been a difficult challenge, eldest. That project is in the hands of Brilliant and the core shapers, who've been investigating tirelessly, but there hasn't been a breakthrough as of yet. We're hoping our advanced team explorations will be able to shed more light on the exact nature of the fifth. That's smart. Alright then, Solent, I'll catch up with you later. Chapter 1242, Setback. What setback? The colony possesses a trait that is uniquely ascribed to it and to it alone, among the advanced, thinking societies that have emerged on Pangara. And that is, you can almost view them as a single entity, a superorganism, so to speak, due to how united in purpose they are. Disagreements, or different approaches, are almost absorbed as part of the process, as millions of individuals work to bring about a single outcome, the betterment of the whole. It's almost comical how incorruptible they are. Even more than a society, they are a unified mass of constantly shifting components that give the appearance of a society while concealing their true nature. The colony is not a people, or a country, or a kingdom, or an empire. They are a single beast. One creature, one mind, one purpose. Excerpt from True Threat by the propagandist Erdagon. The best way to put your troubles behind you is to keep pushing forward, find something else to do. So that's exactly what I get to doing. With Tiny, Chrysalis and Nvidia beside me once again, we throw ourselves into the long list of jobs Victor has put in front of me. Escort construction teams down into the tunnels. No problem, we'll get them there lickety-split. Fight off a raid from some sort of crystalline cow-looking things. Of course, they will crumple in the face of Tiny's fists. Stand guard while an excavation team takes mineral samples from a potential mining site. I mean, it's boring as heck, and surely you can get someone else to do this, but fine. We've got it. All the while, the thriving and vibrant energy of the colony wraps around me like a warm blanket. Every day that goes by, the family becomes stronger, more secure, and my confidence grows. It's hard not to grow, with so much zest and vigor being pumped directly into my veins via the vestibule. The enthusiasm and drive of my siblings is contagious. I can't help but catch the bug and throw myself into every task with determination and vigor. It's heady stuff. It takes barely 2 days to crush through Victor's list, leaving the general scrambling for things for us to do. At that point, I tell her not to bother and to let me know if anything else comes up, something they need me and the squad to take care of. Something that isn't guard duty on mining expeditions. It's at that moment the general twitches as if she just recalled something. Oh yes, eldest, there is one thing that you should look into. There's something off about the tone of her scent. I can't quite put an antenna on what it is, but she sounds shifty. Oh, is it more pointless guard duty? Anyone can do those jobs, you don't need a pack of mythic monsters to take care of them. I thought only 2 of you were mythic. We are all mythic in my eyes. I shoot back. I will accept no prejudice against Nvidia and Chrysalis. They're bound to be mythic after their next evolutions, so there's no harm in counting them early. Well, that's fine, I understand what you're saying. We are stretched thin down here, eldest. There's hundreds of thousands of us. And you might have noted that the monsters here are not like the ones we fight in the first stratum, the general replies a little snippily. Maybe you can pulverize giant lizards with hardened rock shells, or sea krakens, or water elementals, without twitching a mandible, but it's considerably harder for the rest of us. Each task requires a greater commitment of numbers, a greater amount of organization and logistical support just to get anything done down there. Well, that's a good point. I've evolved and kept myself stronger than everything I fight, but this is certainly not true for most ants. Hardly any of them have fully reinforced cores when they evolve, and even fewer get special cores, let alone rare cores, to expand their capacity before evolution. There are millions of us at this stage, millions, and all the cores and biomass that can be spared get funneled towards the next generation. That means our young hatchlings are coming out of the ant academies stronger than ever, which is great. But after that point, their growth begins to stagnate. Against the more powerful monsters of the fourth, the ants need greater numbers to get anything done. It's totally understandable, but I still feel a little sad about it. Hopefully, the cores that come in from the trading we will do can be diverted into strengthening those battling on the front lines. Obviously, it's important to make sure every grub grows up to be as strong as possible, I instituted that policy after all, but we need to ensure the rest of the colony doesn't fall behind. All right then, what is this job you have for me? I sigh. Mentally, I'm bracing for something tedious, but I'm still surprised and a little suspicious when I get the answer. We need you to welcome and escort a Via. My antennae twitch. What in the name of all that is good and six-legged is a Via? That's not important. Just focus on doing the job well. Okay, that's not weird. You want to meet, and escort, this Via. Where do I meet them? And where am I taking them? You'll meet them at the teleportation gate, obviously. Wait, I thought we hadn't connected our gates to any outside networks. We haven't. Fine, so they are coming from within our own network. And who is this, Via? Am I allowed to know that? I'm afraid not. This mission has the utmost level of secrecy. You'll understand everything when you meet them at the gate. Fine, how long do I have until they arrive? About an hour. So soon. Well, yes. Despite feeling like something very odd is going on, I head on over to the gate hub and take my time resting as the minutes tick by. A Via? What the heck is a Via? And since when did we use terms like that anyway? I was hoping to start planning for the invasion of the 5th and take part in my first expedition, but instead they want me to sit around and meet someone. Who the heck could possibly be worth it? When the time finally arrives, the gate flashes bright as I stand and approach. When the light finally dims, a large, insect-like form is revealed, antennae wiggling as they take in the new sights and sounds, and smells. Obviously. Ah, very important ant. Makes sense. Thwack. Ouch. I'm no more important than anyone else in the family, my mother says, clacking her mandibles huffily. Chapter 1243. Mother isn't impressed. Damn it, Victor, you set me up for a thwacking. Why the heck wouldn't you tell me that the queen was coming down here? Despite being more evolved than her, those antennae still pack a serious wallop. How does it hurt this much? Hello there, Mother, I wasn't expecting to see you here. She turns to look at me directly. Then why are you here? Lazing about, avoiding work. Whoa, no, not at all. Why would you jump to that conclusion? Her antenna is poised, ready to strike, and I retreat, desperately trying to defend myself from her pointed accusation. I was asked to come down here and meet someone, I was just saying I didn't expect it to be you. They didn't tell me who was coming, so I had no way to know. Her antenna lowers, and I relax just a little. Why are you here, Mother? Thwack, should I not be here? Are you saying I'm not strong enough? No, sheesh, I was just wondering why. She's so touchy today. Did Victor know she was grumpy in advance or something? Is that why I was sent here? I'll get her back. Mark my words, I will get her back for this. Another flash of light, and lo and behold, the aphid queen arrives. It's been a while since I've seen Aphie, and she's certainly gotten bigger than before, but, relative to me, she's smaller, so it isn't easy to tell. At the appearance of her beloved pet, the queen stops threatening me and turns to check on the little creature, fussing and clacking over her as she ensures the aphid has arrived safely. On one level, I'm even more surprised to see Aphie here. I had no idea there were plans to start aphid farms on the 4th, but then again, there may not be. Wherever the queen went, her pet was sure to follow also. Well, Mother, I'm glad to see Aphie made it all right. Do you have any idea where I'm supposed to take you? I wasn't told. The queen turns back to look at me, her pet falling in by her side. Really, child, surely you can figure it out for yourself. Well, that depends, to be honest. Depends on what? Can I ask this question without getting my head bashed in with an antenna? Mother clacks her mandibles disapprovingly, as if offended I would dare suggest such a thing. Of course, child, what do you mean, of course? Do you not recall what happened here a moment ago? Never mind, if you tell me why you are here in the 4th, then I'll have a much better time being able to take you where you are expected. Are you here for a tour, or a short-term stay? Are you moving into this nest permanently? Permanently, she replies. Oh, that's interesting. I'm guessing you made this decision yourself. I very carefully ensure that I make a statement, and not a question. Mother's antenna twitches once again as she sniffs something offensive in my words. Am I not able to make decisions for myself, child? She asks, dangerously. Of course you can. Who could argue otherwise? It would be ridiculous to suggest that anyone other than yourself would decide where you should go. Damn it, who is running things up in the 3rd? There's supposed to be a complex web around the queen, ensuring she stays happy and satisfied so she doesn't do things like this. She's going to get herself killed fighting some of the monsters down here. Did you want to go for a hunt now, Mother? Or would you prefer to go to your chambers? There's no way this nest wasn't built with space for queens. There's going to be brood chambers and queen's quarters, fully furnished with a pot of hot tea kept on the table, just in case. I'm a little tired after using the gate. It was difficult to get the children to get out of my way. For some reason, there was constantly some pressing emergency that needed to use the gate. It went on for days. She knows. She totally knows. There were no emergencies, that was the family desperately scrambling to delay and buy time to convince her to stay somewhere safer. No wonder she's so grumpy. She's been patiently enduring the shenanigans of her children who've been attempting to prevent her from doing what she wants without actually talking to her about it. I can't help but sigh. It's not like I don't understand her frustration, but the same goes for us, the children. Is it so much to ask that your mother doesn't recklessly throw herself into dangerous situations? Apparently, it is. Well, let's go and get you settled into your chambers. I'm pretty sure I know where they'll be. Thank you, child. I appreciate your help. Ah, nothing like being thanked by the queen to lift your spirits. Not a problem at all. With the queen, and aphid queen, in tow, I make my way from the gate to the center of the nest. Well, why did you decide to move? Getting bored in the third. Mother clacks her mandibles contemplatively. As the family grows, I don't need to lay eggs all that much anymore. There are many queens now, each of them laying more eggs a day than I can. Of course, I still intend to produce more brood, but there is much I can do to help my children fight. Of course, I should have expected nothing less. What else would she want to do but fight? That's literally her second favorite thing to do. And she isn't wrong about the queens. There are as many as we need in the colony. Our cup runneth over with queens. The chances of talking the queen out of throwing herself into the battle taking place in the tunnels below are basically nil at this point. How in the heck are we going to keep her alive? I need to talk to the council about this. Thwack. Oi, what was that for? The queen eyes me suspiciously. I had a sense of something. Sharp as ever. Chapter 1244, Council Gathering. None of you were able to stop the queen from moving down here. She wants to fight. Like, really fight. There's not much we can do to stop her when she gets it in her mind to do something, the Resant tells me. She decided it would be better for the family if she fought more rather than prioritized laying eggs. Since she is one of the strongest fighters in the colony, it's difficult to say that she's wrong. She probably isn't wrong, Advent replies, the big soldier clacking her mandibles morosely. There's a lot the queen can offer in battle, and she knows it. Each member of the council sinks into their, now cushioned, ant seats. I don't know who's out there designing ant furniture, but they're definitely making serious improvements to their designs. I know it's difficult, considering most of us are different sizes, even subtly different shapes, depending on mutations. The designer has solved this problem by using more flexible materials and including generous padding. Of course, my chair had to be built custom. Ultimately, I guess it doesn't matter, I sigh. Mother is going to do whatever she thinks is best for the family, regardless of what we have to say about it. What we need to do is try to figure out how we're going to keep her alive. Sloane and Victor briefly confer before reporting back to the group. If she asks us where she would be best deployed, or consults with any of the generals coordinating the fighting, then we can influence where she goes and what she fights, but if she doesn't. She absolutely won't, I tell them. Well, then there isn't much we can do in terms of picking her battles. The queen is old school. She's not interested in any of this organized combat stuff. She's going to wander around, following trails until she finds something to chomp. Wait, is there any chance we can control what scent trails she comes across? Remember, the queen was fighting right back at the start of the colony. She probably laid down most of the trails outside the first nest herself. That's the way she'll get to the front line, by following the trails. It's the scouts, Burke and Wills, who chip in on this one. Laying false trails will be difficult, eldest, Burke tells me. There's already a complex system of trails laid down in the tunnels below. It's one of our main ways of organization. You don't have to change your system much. Just change the name of one of the more out-of-the-way fronts to, most important, or, situation dire. Quote. Do you really think she would fall for that? Quote. Maybe. I feel like, if she was here, she would hit you with her antenna. Of course she would. I'll take a few thwacks if it means keeping her alive. The queen is the founding member of this family, the very first one, and the only aunt every single one of us can trace our lineage directly to. If she was lost, it would be like the heart of the colony was cut out. I mean, mine also, but the colony's as well. We can give it a try. Will sighs, but I think our best bet is to simply reinforce whichever front she chooses to attend. We were always going to do that, Victor says, almost offended. We have a battalion set aside already, strictly for that purpose. At that point, there isn't much more to say about the Queen problem, as vexing as it is. I turn my attention to the next problem in front of me. Alright, so, can anyone tell me why Vibrant is oscillating back and forth like that? Ever since we arrived at this meeting, she's been a blurry mess. It's hard to even look at her directly since she seems to be shifting about 30 centimeters from side to side so quickly I can't actually see her move. She actually says something to reply to me, but all I get is a mangled nod of scent. I can't interpret it at all. Did you say something, Vibrant? I didn't get anything from that. Again, a mess of scent that lasts probably twice as long as before, but it's utterly uninterpretable. Vibrant, you really have to slow it down. A lot. After her last evolution, she probably landed on a mythic species that sped her up to an absurd degree. If I know her, and I do, she would have gone all in on anything that would help her go faster. Can you understand me now, Senior? She says finally. Yes, that was perfect. You actually sound completely normal. I find if I have a quick nap between words it seems to space things out better, she explains. Wait, you're taking a nap, in between words. You're going into torpor. Yep, it's one of the organs I attached to my brain when I evolved. Going super fast can make you super tired, so micro-torpor sessions let me get more rest, then I go faster for longer. It's great. Of course, I doubt that was the only reason. This means she's essentially free of the torpor police forever, since they'll never be able to say she hasn't been sleeping. She could be napping in between steps while she's walking around. So, is this weird, vibrating thing, is that also part of your evolution? Nope, I'm just excited. Fine, I guess my question has been answered. I was worried there was something wrong, but she's alright, apparently. Time to move to the next topic, I suppose. I was hoping to hear about how the family is doing around the place. It's not like I can go up to the first or second anymore, but it would be great to hear about it. How are the Academies going? How are the young generations handling things up there? Chapter 1245, The Family Ascendant. It's nice to have the full council around. How long has it been since I saw them all together in one place? Even Antoinette and Victoriant are here, now majestic tier 6 queens, with huge gasters for generating many, high-quality eggs. It's actually the two queens who speak up next. Things have been going well up there, Antoinette tells the council. We've expanded to over 20 Academies, with satellite nests built around each of them in the second stratum. However, we are beginning to push against claimed territory. Haven't we taken a lot of claimed territory? I ask. We have, but that was claimed by independent city-states, which are now part of the colony. Good for them. We are now brushing against parts of the dungeon claimed by the major powers, and we don't want to antagonize them. I mean, we could. No, that's probably a bad idea. Prosper in peace. This is the way. How are the, former independent cities doing? They've come into the fold all right. Well, Victorian shifts a little uncomfortably. For the most part, yes, but the cities who were persuaded by the crusade. Good lord, what did those crazy priests do in there? Are those people suffering from trauma? Do they resent their ant-overlords? What's the problem with them, Victoriant? They're just very enthusiastic. Several of them were almost depopulated due to the residents volunteering to become soldiers in the colony. Oh, so, the opposite problem. How the heck did that happen? All right then. So, things are going well up there, I guess. How about the Academies? How are they running? It's a good time to ask, given we have the architects of the entire program right here with me. Verisant and Florence are in attendance, each of them resplendent, tier 5 brood tenders, emitting a soothing aura that refreshes all of us. Florence happily opens up, clacking her mandibles with obvious joy. We've made great strides in streamlining the rearing and education process. A thorough exploration of the various skills and mutations that affect education and growth have resulted in us uncovering what we believe to be the best possible combinations. A fully grown hatchling has a significant statistical advantage over where they used to be, and their builds are much more refined. You still ask them what they want to learn, right? You don't just force them to become whatever we need. Of course we don't, eldest, but when we ask them what they want to be, the first question they ask is what we want. Obviously, they're ants. You can't just fold at the first obstacle. You've got to push a little harder than that. We do, of course. Usually, this results in them trying to divide themselves up according to what they think the colony needs. They get quite grumpy about it. Damn hatchlings. Accept freedom, damn it, I might have to chalk it up as a lost cause. Trying to get them to choose their own path in life seems pointless when they can't really be happy unless they feel like they're contributing to the family anyway. I wanted them to learn they could contribute to the family as well as choose their own path, but it doesn't seem to be sinking in. And how are the brood tenders handling things? No problems. You have enough numbers. It's been very busy, the Resant says, without seeming tired at all, but things are starting to slow down a little now. There's less expansion happening in the first and second stratum, with less new nests being built, we aren't having to establish new ant academies or brood rearing chambers. So, things are going very well. Of course they are, you guys get to tickle the grubs all day long. I'm so jealous. How could you possibly be stressed? Well, that's wonderful to hear. I almost hesitate to ask, but how many students are we graduating each week? Or are the hatchlings being produced on a monthly basis? No, they are still being hatched weekly. It's difficult to say, but across all of the nests, we are graduating close to 100,000 students a week. Holy moly. No, it's fine. I'm cool. It's cool. That's over 5 million a year. 5 million of the most primo ants this dungeon has ever seen. That's a lot. What about egg production and education in the third and fourth strata? We've captured a fair bit of land in the third. In the fourth, we have this single mountain, but there's already a nest here. We aren't sure about that. There are queens creating brood in the third right now, and the queen has just moved here, but we aren't sure what effect the overly thick mana in the lower levels will have on the young. That's a good point, we should figure that out before we do too much. I like the caution in this instance. Now I guess we can move to the big ticket item. It's no secret that I have a big project on the go right now. Fully cleansing the fifth stratum in order to allow for the colony to make our way deeper into the dungeon. It's not going to be easy, obviously, but if we can do this, we will shock the entire world and put the dungeon on notice. Everyone will have to accept that we, the colony, mean business. Advent leans forward in her chair. That sounds nice and all, eldest, but I don't think that's the real reason you want to do this. Of course not. If they capture one of us, they can corrupt us with their evil goo and make an entire colony of evil sludge ants. We don't have a choice but to remove that possibility from the dungeon completely. The rest of the council don't really care about impressing the other empires of Pangara. Nor do they think it important to get them in our debt or any such thing. When I mention eliminating the chance of our siblings getting corrupted, they are completely bought in. It's going to take a ton of resources. I want to emphasize that we need to ensure we aren't shortchanging any of our other projects. Having said that, what we can spare, I want to put towards this. We are still in the opening stages, gathering information and testing potential solutions. When we sort things out, the call will come, and everyone needs to answer. Chapter 1246, Catching Up. It's been a long time since I've seen some of these ants, but it's nice to see them again. Propellant and coolant are here, and they have, most certainly changed. Alright, I have to ask, what the heck happened to you guys? The two mages both turned to face me. I think, it's kind of difficult to tell due to the visual obstruction over there. I'm not sure what you mean, eldest, coolant replies smoothly. Yeah, we're the same as always. I mean, you have what appears to be a small volcano on your back, propellant. The air around you is shimmering with heat. How in the heck can you tell me you haven't changed? Oh, you mean the evolution thing. I wanted to be more fiery. I was absolutely inspired when you made that mountain explode. I'd never even contemplated the existence of such a level of heat. I had to aspire to reach that level myself. I think what my hot-headed sibling is trying to say, is that we wanted to further specialize in our elements. When we evolved, we chose, rather extreme options. You think, you're half made of ice. Between the two of you, you're starting to make a localized weather system. The extreme heat coming off coolant is coming up against the freezing air rolling off coolant and turning into mist. I mean, it's cool and all, but it's spreading around the room and becoming a bit of a pain. Of all the ants that I've seen reach the 6th tier, these two have certainly gone for the most outlandish choices. Most ants will stick fairly close to our base form, not really modifying it all that much. These two have not shied away from much more dramatic changes. So, the idea of becoming some sort of generalist mages never occurred to either of you. Coolant wiggles her antennae dismissively. Eldest, we of course considered the myriad paths available to the mage ant, but decided that it was necessary for at least some of us to explore the limits of direct specialization. Yeah, also, I can blow up stuff incredibly well. Thank you, Propellant, very helpful. As I was saying, this was a choice we made in order to further the knowledge of the colony as a whole. Right, and it had nothing to do with the fact that the two of you have increasingly identified with, even obsessed over, your chosen elements. Of course not. Right, very convincing. I'll catch up with these two morons later, since they're slated to be involved with the 5th exploration, given their mana expertise. Mendant and Francis are in attendance, of course, looking kind of irritated, as usual. How are the healers traveling? Do you have all the support you need to handle our current level of work? Sure, to cover an invasion into the most toxic and virulent place in the entire dungeon. Obviously not. Francis doesn't hold back and hits us straight with the bad news. You make a good point, we should get on that. Make note, everyone. Yeesh, they're so touchy. I swear, if they weren't as busy, they'd just complain about being underutilized. It's impossible for them to be happy, I'm convinced. No matter how well we prepare, I expect the 5th is going to prove to be a greater challenge than we can possibly anticipate. There's a reason that virulent mana has proven so intractable over the millennia. I've only been exposed to it in a limited fashion and I'm fully aware of just how poisonous it can be. Even the slightest slip, the tiniest bit of exposure, could lead to an ant receiving a lethal dose. Medical help is going to be critical to the success of the mission. The two core shapers, Bella and Ellie, are also here. They've been hard at work recently, coordinating with Solent and working on their woofer design. How is the core shaper effort working out regarding the 5th's invasion? I asked the pair. You've done stellar work so far, and I expect it only got better while I was away. The two are extremely pleased to receive compliments for their work, positively radiating pride as they reply. We've been iterating on the design and think we're ready for the next major test. You'll be taking some of our best woofers with you when you embark on your mission. Excellent. I look forward to seeing how well they perform. They did a great job eliminating the goop before, but actually going into the 5th is going to be a completely different story. They won't be cleaning puddles, or even pools of the stuff. They're going to be completely submerged in it. If they can't convert it quickly enough, they'll be corrupted and die before they can even get started. Man, that would be rough. I certainly hope they're up to the task. Without more to be said, I turn to the others and address the group as a whole. I have to say, it's wonderful to see you all together like this again. It's been a long time, and I think I should say, you've done a wonderful job helping to lead our family into a bright and secure future. They each clack their mandibles, some enthusiastically, some a little more subdued, as I give them a rare bit of praise. We've gone through some difficult times, and we will go through more, but you've all done your part to help steer us in the right direction. I'm really grateful for everything you've done. After all, I basically created this council of 20 so I didn't have to make any decisions. That wasn't solely out of a desire to avoid hard work, it was also because I recognized I wouldn't have been any good at it. These ants have taken over the bulk of the work steering out of the trouble I habitually get us into. I'm grateful, deeply, and it's only right that I let them know. Chapter 1247. Get our act together. Many members of the council remain in the chamber to discuss the various issues plaguing the colony across all the levels of our development. I remain among them for a while, just listening in and catching up on the issues beyond the range of my vestibule. It would be nice if the organ had such tremendous range it would reach all the way to the surface. If that were possible, I'd know what was happening at every level of the family, even in the nesting chambers all the way up in the first. I mean, it would be terrifying to be exposed to that much wool, from that many individuals, but on the other hand, I like to know what's going on around the place. From the conversations happening around me, I learn about things happening in Renewal, which is apparently getting much larger as even other communities who managed to hide and survive the assault of Garrosh hear about the thriving city and move in. As the territory expands, we run across more mineral deposits rich with mana, or wood which has absorbed different attributes. With the influx of raw resources, processing has also had to be expanded, along with research to work out what can be done with the stuff. This organizational chatter brings in Tungstand and Cobalt who want to talk about what they've learned from examining the materials they purchased from the various markets around the Fourth. Smithant is apparently losing her mind, sealing herself into the forges and testing everything she can in every way she can. I shouldn't be surprised, an opportunity like this isn't going to come around too often and she's completely obsessed with her craft. I'm sure she'll have a ton of new ideas after she gets more time to research. Now that Tiny has finished his evolution, a new set of armor for him would be amazing, and he'd get a ton of use out of it. It's not like he'll be evolving again anytime soon. Victorian and Antoinette are discussing potential nest expansions into the third with Sloane and Advent. Apparently, it's been too difficult to guarantee security up there, so the only nest-producing brood is the massive one built underneath Roklu. The colony has captured almost a dozen pillars since then, and nests are being constructed under each. According to Advent, things are looking much safer in the third now than they were. The demons within our land are settling down, going back to their normal behavior, which is admittedly pretty chaotic. Which is weird, since the rest of the stratum appears to be having massive issues still. I might need to talk to Al about it, which I can do through the nave at any point, I suppose. Ah, it's nice to hear about the family. As much as I want to luxuriate here in the warm and fuzzy feelings the family brings out in me, it's time to get off my surprisingly comfortable chair and go out to make a difference. It's not enough just to hear about the family, it's also necessary to work for them and carve out a better future from this punishing world. Ha, as if the dungeon has anything that can go up against this colony. Levering myself up, I exit the chamber as quietly as I can so I don't disturb the others, but I admit it's probably a fruitless effort. Outside the room, I find my three friends waiting patiently. Well, I find Chrysalis and Nvidia waiting patiently. Tiny is asleep. Well, if I'm honest, Chrysalis was probably spying on me through the shadows, so at least Nvidia was waiting. Alright, you three, it's time to get up and get going. We've got a lot to do. Wake up, Tiny. The big ape stirs and blinks a few times, his bat ears twitching this way and that. We're going to go fighting. Bam! His eyes spring open in an instant and his body flares with electricity, sending it crackling along the walls. Up he springs, rolling his shoulders and cracking his enormous knuckles, jumping on the spot. He's so excited to get going. That's right, big guy. We're going into the fifth stratum. A whole new place, filled with brand new monsters. Isn't that exciting? Yes, he affirms, grinning wide. Can't wait to punch. Chrysalis is less enthused. Is that wise, master? It's very dangerous down there. I've heard all about how disgusting and filthy that place is. You will be fouled by the creatures that live there. My plans are a little more ambitious this time, Chrysalis. I don't want to just go there. I don't want to just make it through to the sixth. I want to cleanse the place entirely. Let's walk and talk. I lead the way while Chrysalis latches onto my carapace, before surprising me and fading straight into my shadow. Tiny stomps along behind me since we can't walk side by side in these tunnels. The two of us are rather huge at this point. Nvidia latches onto the ape's shoulder, flapping his wings every now and again to maintain equilibrium. In this fashion, I led us back down into the depths of the nest, explaining on the way. The fifth wasn't always the way it is now. I've never spoken to anyone who knows what it was before, but everyone agrees it was corrupted at some point. Something managed to convert an entire stratum into a toxic sludge wasteland, so it stands to reason that we should be able to turn it back. If we can figure out what was done to the place, we can reverse it. Makes sense. It will be difficult. We don't know SSSS what was is done. Nobody knows SSS what was is done. You are not wrong, Nvidia. No one else has figured it out, even after several thousand years. However, I have a reason to believe that we will be successful where everyone else has failed. And what is that, Master? We're monsters, I laugh. There's nothing more adaptable, or more able to endure mana, than we are. There's never been a unified, organized and driven society of monsters like us in the history of the dungeon. We are going to do things that nobody ever believed were possible, just wait and see. Chapter 1248, The Depths. It takes a little while to find Solent, because she is doing what she always does, running around the place sorting out everyone else's problems. She's like an industrial-strength iron, running over the military operation beneath the nest and pressing out every tiny wrinkle she comes across. Actually, the more I consider the image, the more it seems to fit. Solent is inevitable, a tide of logistical efficiency that no problem, no matter how small, can hide from. As we move from chamber to chamber, tunnel to tunnel, we find nothing but an extreme example of pure ant organization. There are troops training, running drills with the single-minded, relentless focus of insects. Supplies are being stockpiled, inventory constantly checked. Construction is everywhere, barracks chambers, hospitals, the works. The deeper we go, the more common it becomes, until at last we find the little general herself, overlooking a force of 10,000 ants running some sort of tunnel drill along with what looks like 100 woofers. What in the name of heck is going on here? I ask, trying to figure out what the complex movements might be for. The whole battalion shifts forward, backwards, some ants hopping over others, some slipping underneath, then they rotate, making it seem as if I'm staring into a horizontal whirlpool as streams of my siblings swirl around the walls. It's dizzying. It's about managing the movement of mana, Solent says shortly, watching the drill underway like a hawk. Members of her personal squad are with her, as always, watching alongside, some annotating into a scent book, literally taking notes. I'm going to need more than that. Don't we use mages to manage the movement of mana? I ask, still confused. Solent sighs and I resist the urge to thwack her. In the 5th, our greatest opponent is not the monsters we will face, although they are mighty and dangerous indeed, it is the mana itself. It is impossible, even for us, to produce enough mages to manage the flow of energy through an entire stratum. Even for small-scale incursions, we have to do everything we can to reduce the burden on our woofer auxiliaries, and the ant mages, to ensure they don't burn out. That all makes sense, sure, but I need you to explain the trippy scene in front of me. I feel like I'm getting vertigo. We are monsters with cores, so we absorb mana constantly. I get that much, which means, our movement is capable of influencing, in a small way, the flow of energy in an area. Oh snap. So if there's enough of us moving in a precise sequence. Solent nods, satisfied. That's right. With a force this large, we can create a flow, drawing mana in towards us, or pushing it out. When we want more toxic mana to be fed to the woofers in the center of the formation, we can draw it in without exposing ourselves. When the woofers have purified all the mana around them, we can push that clean energy out into the surroundings, weakening the toxic energy around us. Holy moly, this general is proving to be everything I hoped she would be. The campaign hasn't even started yet, but her out-of-the-box thinking is already paying dividends. That's awesome, I can't wait to see it in action. Well, get the troops together. It's time to sally forth into the 5th. I'm here and ready to go. Solent actually huffs a little as she clacks her mandibles. She huffs at me. It will take a little time to get everything organized, eldest. What? But Tiny is ready to go. Show her, Tiny. He doesn't know who or what I'm talking about, but the ape doesn't fail to deliver, raising one brow, along with one tree-thick arm, and flexing. See, regardless of how ready you are, we haven't gathered the necessary team. There are many moving parts to this, eldest. I'll get everything ready as quickly as I possibly can, but it will take some hours. Why don't you head down to the forward operating base and wait there? That will give you an opportunity to see what we're up against. I'm tempted to unload a thwack just to emphasize the necessity of good attitudes, but I think that's only because my head still hurts from the treatment Mother unleashed upon me. I'm seeking to transfer my aching head to someone else and that's not fair. I'll be the bigger ant and refrain from such childish behavior. Alright, fine, we'll meet you down there. Oh, I won't be there. Thwack, what do you mean you won't be there? Ah, eldest, was that really necessary? Answer the question. I have too many things to worry about here. Our preparations are reaching a critical stage and I have to make sure that everything runs perfectly. You'll have capable members of every caste in your team, I'm sure you can manage them just fine. Alright, fine, but you watch yourself. I tap an antenna against my own head then stretch it out to tap against Solent's. Make sure you keep your head on straight. The little ant steps back, glaring up at me, then sighs. Good luck down there, eldest. It's going to be difficult. Ha, I was made for difficult. So saying, I turn away, and led my 3 friends down towards the deeper tunnels. It doesn't take long before we reach the main shaft, prepared by the colony to pierce deep into the web of tangled tunnels below the nest. Despite the number of troops committed to this project, it still isn't possible to keep the shaft free of monsters, so we run into opposition quickly, though it doesn't last long. Eager to stretch his muscles, Tiny is more than happy to leap across the open expanse, smashing everything to bits. Seemingly without effort, he unleashes his meteoric fists, or simply grabs hold of the foes and obliterates them against the hardened stone walls. When we reach the bottom, the light is dim, the number of ants around us are few, and the mana is thick. Filled with life energy, the tunnels are awash with plants, and though dim, the light here is intense, filled with a subtle power imbued by the density of mana. And there are monsters. So many monsters. Clearly, the colony still has a lot of work to do down here before the tunnels are properly cleaned out. Ah well, we can contribute a bit. Chapter 1249. On the edge of the fifth. It's always fun to watch my 3 loyal friends stretch their legs after an evolution. They've grown immensely in power, as is befitting a monster moving from the 6th to 7th tier. Unleashing them upon the monsters in those tunnels is like putting a group of wolves against a field of mice. Despite their natural advantages, born with bodies that are stronger, faster, more mana-rich, these creatures do not have the advantage of maxed-out, carefully considered evolutions. Tiny, of course, is the first and most enthusiastic of the 3 to throw himself into the fighting. The hulking brute has grown truly enormous now, so large he would make a normal gorilla look like a toy. Due to his sheer size and mind, we have to stick to the bigger tunnels only, eschewing the smaller ones to avoid getting stuck. Whenever he comes across a monster, he bounds forward, knuckles pounding into the rock as he bellows his challenge. Some monsters are smart and run, slithering away to places he can't reach, but the larger ones turn to fight, roaring back. They don't last long. His fists lash out, not just with incredible power, but absurd speed. Left, left, right, left, right. Bam 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 bam. A flurry of punches, a staccato burst of light as his skills activate, and his opponent is already reeling. Disappointed, the big ape slumps his shoulders a little before his ears twitch and he rears back for a mighty uppercut that flings his opponent directly into the afterlife. And all the while, the lightning is crackling, rippling across his arms. Every time he punches, it blasts outwards, lightning bolts hammering into his target along with the fists of light. Compared to Tiny, Chrysalis and Nvidia don't get as much of an opportunity to shine, but they still contribute as we continue to make our way down through the tunnels. As a creature of pure shadow, Chrysalis can be just about anywhere. Her ability to stretch and fold her body in on itself was creepy before, but now it's risen to a whole new level. At tier 6, she could fold her entire body down into a little ball, then erupt into a forest of tentacles, her 3 maws appearing from deep within the mass. It was a horrifying jump scare that proved to be an effective hunting tactic, but now she doesn't even need to physically be present. She's a shadow, and if that weren't scary enough, she eats light. When she enters a new tunnel, if she wishes, the light, despite its thickness, fades down to almost nothing. The tunnels fill with darkness, and Chrysalis is simply gone, her body spreading throughout the shadows. When the monsters begin to move, her tentacles strike. They lash out from the walls, from the floors, from the darkness, from the monsters' own shadows. Once her tentacles have grasped the target, well, we know what happens. I don't need to describe it, right? We know. What I find most disturbing is that the remaining biomass, now neatly cut into bite-sized sections, is pulled into the shadows and I can hear her chewing. It's an experience, all right. For his part, Nvidia seems happy to relax, casting spells to support when he feels it's necessary, healing Tiny, exploding a few things and generally helping everyone out. I don't know why, but it's comforting having him around, and we enjoy a good chat as we make our way deeper and deeper, following the pheromone trails. And man, is it deep. The colony has done their best to create a highway system that more or less spirals downwards, but even so, it takes us almost a day before we reach the forward base. These tunnels are deep, way deeper than I thought they were, but eventually we arrive, a little worn out, a little wounded, ready for some rest and refreshment. The forward base isn't anything to speak of at this stage, a nest in the early stages of construction, the entrance built into the tunnel wall with rudimentary defenses in place around it. What it does have is a garrison 30,000 strong, along with some of the human troops and priests to fight alongside. The generals clearly felt it was dangerous enough here that they wanted every advantage, including the aura buff provided by the priests when we fight alongside the humans. This is a dangerous place to be, and I can already sense why. You guys head into the fort and get some rest, I tell Tiny, Chrysalis and Nvidia. I've got something I want to check out. Tiny and Nvidia are happy to go, but Chrysalis hesitates. You won't do anything silly, will you, Master? Ha, don't worry yourself. Look, you can come with me if you want. Thank you, I will. All right then, sure, come along. Sheesh. The scent trails have been laid down many times, clearly indicating what I'm heading towards, but even without them, I would know. My mana senses blaring warning signals, ringing the alarm in my head as it senses something unbelievably dangerous. And it isn't far away, only a few hundred meters. Soon, I arrive, and look down at the entrance to the 5th stratum. There are less and less of these passages the deeper we go. For every 5 connections between the first and second, we only found one between the second and third. From the third to the fourth, that number cuts to another 10th. From the fourth to the fifth, we've only found this single passage. The floor slopes down sharply from all angles, creating a well 30 meters across that drops straight down for almost 20 meters, but then the thick life mana just terminates. At that point, the tunnel is filled with a bubbling miasma, a toxic sludge so thick it's almost a solid. I can see it creeping up the sides, little fingers of goop trying to latch onto the smooth walls of the well, as if the mana itself was trying to climb up into the fourth, as if it were alive. My senses are warning me that even a touch of this stuff will mean a painful death. Holy moly, this is going to be rough. Chapter 1250, On the Verge. To my surprise, it's Brendan, a soldier of the council, who leads this expedition. Soft-spoken and reserved, she isn't usually one to put herself forward for an operation like this, preferring to work diligently in the background. Not that I'm unhappy to see her, she's steady and reliable, as well as powerful, being a tier 6 ant with maxed evolutions. Brendan, good to see you. Is this the whole force? She comes down accompanied by what appears to be 5,000 ants, along with a force of 500 woofers. We aren't holding back on this one. Those 500 pets represent an enormous sum of cores, but purifying the mana of the fifth is far too difficult without something custom built for the job. This is all of us. We aren't meant to go too deep, or for too long. We've done a fair bit of testing to determine the potency of the mana and whether it's possible to survive down there, but we haven't done any exploring. That's what this expedition is for. Do some preliminary mapping and get some data back to the generals about the environment and the effectiveness of our countermeasures. Hey, Brendan, why are you talking to me as if I don't know what we're here for? I know exactly what the mission is about. The smaller ant shifts a little on her 6 legs. It doesn't hurt to have a reminder before the beginning of a mission, eldest. I'm not going to fly off the handle and invite some sort of invasion by insane slugs. I can be cool, everything is going to be fine. As you say, eldest. Gah, there's never any trust. How long until we depart? I ask. Give us an hour or two for final prep and we should be ready to go. Fantastic. I'll leave that to you. I'm going to dip my toe into the fifth and see what it's like in there. I can tell Brendan wants to say something, but she refrains, merely giving me a nod and turning back to her business. Come on, guys. I want to check out the fifth. Let's see what it's like. Master, I really don't think. Fight. Yes, let's SSSSSSS. Sorry Chrysalis, you're outvoted. Led by myself, we rush over to the entrance and find 2 other ants peering down at the well. Propellant, coolant, I didn't expect to see you 2 down here already. The 2 mages remain side by side, though the air swirls violently between them as the 2 extreme temperatures they produce clash. We've come to do some testing regarding the mana, coolant informs me. They wouldn't let us go down there with you. Too much risk, Propellant snaps her mandibles in irritation. It's a sensible precaution, coolant tells her sister. It's weak. We're the strongest mages in the colony, we should be down there. Propellant bites back. I keep to myself that I'd rather have Brilliant on her own than the 2 of them. That little mad scientist is an expert at sniffing out answers to difficult questions, but risking her on our first trip would be absolute madness. I agree, there's no reason for you to go down this soon, I tell them. Be a little patient, there'll be a million of us down there before too long, you included. It'll take at least that many to establish any real foothold, considering the odds we're up against. Well, I'm going to poke my nose in, see what the fuss is about, I declare, only for the 2 mages to immediately question me. What? Why? Coolant demands. You know what that mana will do to you. Propellant bursts out. I've been exposed to the mana of the fifth before, don't worry about it. It's not quite the same, eldest, Coolant insists, this is the original item, not a reproduction produced by a monster. You'll find exposure to it will be uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. I don't have a problem with being uncomfortable. I've got the call. I'm constantly uncomfortable. Although, right now, as I'm on the verge of descending to another stratum, I'm in less pain from it than I've felt in ages. In fact, I'm almost free of pain. It's such a wondrous, heady feeling, I honestly don't care what the mana feels like. It'll be fine, I'll be down there for just a few seconds. A minute, tops. I'll go first guys, you wait for me up here. Be ready with the healing magic, Nvidia. I'll be counting on you. Yes, count on me more SSSSSSS. Okay, I will. His eye gleams with happiness and warmth. Goodness, he hisses. And over I go. The passage down is pretty much vertical, so I grip on for dear life and head face first towards the bubbling goop that separates this layer from the next. On the way down, I remember an important point. Protectant and friends. By no means are you to go down there with me. There's absolutely no way you'll survive the exposure without support. And what makes you think you will? Protectant mutters from somewhere close to my antennae. Because I'm a heck of a lot larger and stronger than you lot. If I take damage, Nvidia can heal me. If all of you take damage, there won't be enough healing to go around. You just have to wait this one out. They aren't happy about it, but for once, I'm actually right. The 20 bodyguards remain at the halfway mark of the tunnel as I continue to descend. Quickly, I arrive at the barrier, my antennae almost brushing against the surface. Holy moly, from here it really does look like a complete mess, a thick soup of sludge and poison that writhes as if alive. To my mana sense, the tunnel before me may as well be filled with radioactive waste. The energy just doesn't feel right, as if it's tainted, damaging, even to other forms of mana. Now that I've come this far, I'm not going to hold myself back. I'll be heading down here with thousands of my siblings soon enough. As if I'd ever do that without checking its safety for myself first. Unwilling to waste more time, I decisively poke an antenna straight into the muck. Yep, just as I thought. It burns like I stuck it straight into acid. That's not enough to tell me anything, I need to go all the way in. Onward.